Welcome back to another episode of the HigherUp podcast. I'm your host, Michael Smoke, and it's been a while. It's been a while since I've sat in front of the camera by myself and talked on a microphone for 20 minutes at a time. So forgive me if I'm a little bit rusty. I'll admit it feels a little bit clunkier than it did when I was doing it every week, and I apologize for the lack of consistency and cadence in putting out the episodes recently, but I appreciate your patience a ton as I've been building and investing more time and effort into the coaching community and working with my clients who are crushing it. I love you guys. If you're listening to this, you're doing a great job. The transformations, even 2 months in, have been insane. I have stepped away a little bit from the podcast, and I apologize for that. I've got a couple of episodes queued up that I'm going to be recording in Austin, Texas this coming week. Some exciting guests and solo episodes. I've got a guest episode coming out with Dylan here shortly. That'll be edited and probably up next week, but this will be the week of March 10th's episode. And in this episode, we are going to be doing a fitness myth debunking until, well, maybe my frontal lobe shuts down. I don't know. I'm just going to go and go and go to make sure I have covered all my bases the best I could. My goal by the end of this episode is to not leave a single fitness myth stone unturned. And I did that through posting on my story about a week ago. Put your biggest fitness myths into this question submission box, and I will hammer through them on the podcast and tell you if they're worth doing, absolute bullshit, or somewhere in between. And boy, did you guys come through. For those of you watching on the screen, I don't know if you can see this. This is how many we have. I don't know if all of them are worth answering, but it's got to be at least. Oh my gosh, it just keeps going. Oh my gosh. I'm definitely not. Oh my gosh, I'm still scrolling. It's probably 300 submissions. So, needless to say, I think I'll go into a coma simply from brain exhaustion if I try to do all of this. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick through these live with you guys on the podcast today and just dispel these as they come about and give my organic, off the cuff opinion on these in no particular order. I think they're just submitted on in order of the last person to put them into the question box. And I had to pull the story after like 6 hours because too many people were submitting. So without further ado, let's just start to dispel some of the biggest fitness myths or some of the submissions that might be true and worth considering. So we'll start with Fantavious, my good buddy Harrison, who said, people who tell me you can spot reduce fat. So, for those of you who are wondering, because I know some of you are probably curious, how do I lose fat in my arms? How do I lose fat in my belly, my midsection? Unfortunately, you cannot spot reduce fat. Now, a lot of what I'm going to say, I imagine, based on some of these myths, is going to come back to energy balance or calories in, calories out. That is, was, and will always be the only way to reduce, increase, or keep your body weight. How many calories you eat will determine how large you are and how much you weigh, no matter what those calories come from. If you eat too much, you will gain. If you eat too little, you will lose. If you're right in the middle, you will stay the same. Calories in, calories out. Food quality matters. Protein and macros matter. It's not what we're talking about right now. The the concept of CISO, calories in, calories out, has been proven thousands of times and is isolated in every study that contains facets of nutrition or studying nutrition, dietary patterns, or habits. Calories are always the main part of the equation for changing your body weight. And in terms of spot reduction of fat, that is unfortunately something that is not possible. A lot of you ladies who want to spot reduce in your midsection or your arms or your thighs, you're not going to like hearing that. The way we lose body fat is largely based on genetics and survival. Everybody loses body fat in different places based on their genetic predisposition. I'll give you an example. When I start a cut, my arms lean out very quickly. I lose fat in my arms almost immediately, while my midsection still might look a little bit fluffy. And even when I'm very lean, like I am right now, I have visible vasculature in my stomach and abdomen. I still carry a fair amount of fat at my low back and in my legs. And that's just because that's what my body is predisposed to holding onto last. I'd have to get very, very lean to lose that body fat. And that's the case for most men. Most men hold fat in their low back and legs, some in their upper midsection. A lot of women tend to hold fat in the hips and waist. And that's just the way it is. Now, there's the genetic component and there's a survivability component. Think about this logically. What is the fat that is probably the most important to keeping us alive and warm, maybe, or protecting us from bodily injury? Is the fat in the midsection, the fat closest to the organs. Remember, our body doesn't know we live in this modern society with air conditioners and heaters, and we're living in climate controlled spaces 365 days a year, unless you go camping. It knows I need to keep this part of the body the safest because it's the most critical. So keep the fat here, burn it everywhere else first. So the fat closest to your vital organs is typically where we're going to hold on to body fat. And we have to stay the most patient in our caloric deficit. That is the only way to beat the fat that you don't want is to stay in that caloric deficit and continue to get leaner. I know it's frustrating. I know it's not sexy advice. And that's why nobody talks about it, because they can't sell you a supplement or a fad diet to combat that. So your body's going to hang on to the fat closest to your organs for warmth and safety, and it's probably going to burn fat furthest away from your midsection first and work its way in. That might not be the case for everybody, but for most of us, that is in fact the case. So you cannot spot reduce fat. I'm going to try to give a balance between an adequate explanation and rapid firing these, because there are hundreds of them. Ben Wilcox, another great content creator friend of mine, said the concept of doing more reps with a lighter weight if you want to, quote, tone a muscle. We've all heard this. Some gym bros and broettes still talk about it. Oh, I want to get toner and leaner for the summer, so I'm going to do high reps, low weight, because low weight or low reps, high weight makes me bulky. No, that's not true. You either grow muscle tissue or you don't grow muscle tissue. The word toning does not exist. It is a totally arbitrary term. If you're looking to have a more toned tricep, you want a bigger tricep or you want a tricep with less body fat around it, preferably both. You can only either grow the muscle tissue or not. You can't tone it based on the rep range. The thing that changes the tone or appearance of a muscle is the progressive overload you put on it over time. Whether you do that, whether you get stronger in the rep range of 5 to 8 reps on a tricep push down or 15 to 20 reps, so long as the weight is going up and you're staying at a high intensity of training in close proximity to failure, you are going to see growth in that muscle. You're not going to see toning. It does not matter the rep range you choose. I like to lift heavy because I can get the stimulus quicker. I don't have to stay under a bar for 20 reps. I hate that shit. It's boring. You might like it. That's fine. Just make sure you're progressively overloading in that range. It seems to be based on research that anywhere between 5 and I think 30 reps, so long as you achieve progressive overload over time, meaning adding weight to the bar over time or increasing repetitions or intensity, you increase the demand of the muscle within that rep range, you can grow it. Toning's not a real thing. Great submission, Ben. Ben has another one that's worth talking about. And this one's running rampant right now. Your body can only digest X amount of protein per hour or per day or per meal. The one you're all probably used to hearing is, oh, I thought my body could only digest 30 grams of protein in one meal. No. That's not how it works. So let me explain protein synthesis quickly and simply. It is true that your body can only synthesize a certain amount of protein per hour. It just has a limited capacity for how much it can take and utilize the amino acids for muscle tissue, organ repair, skin repair, cellular repair, whatever it needs. However, if you can only digest 30 grams of protein or synthesize, create and use, or utilize rather, not create, we eat it, we don't create it, we create some of them. Anyway, you may only be able to synthesize 30 grams of protein an hour and or utilize 30 grams of protein an hour. But if you have 90 grams of protein in a meal, your body is not going to see that and go, oh, just dispose of that other 60 grams. It's useless to us. We can't use it. That's ridiculous. Think about this incredibly complex machine that has survived for thousands of years without readily available food, tens of thousands of years. We went through periods of feast and famine. Do you really think that, again, our body doesn't know we exist in this modern food-rich society? It doesn't know when or where our next calorie is coming from. So you really think in early human times, if we got 100 grams of protein in a meal and we needed 100 grams to adequately rebuild or the muscle tissue we've broken down or lost or the organ tissue we've turned over? I mean, our body turns over billions of cells. Is it a day or is it millions of cells? Either way, cells are constantly being repaired or eaten or turned over, and we need new amino acids. You really think that it would make sense for this incredibly complex machine that has survived through incredible hardships, through extreme climates, to say, nah, we can't synthesize that right now, throw it away? No, it will simply, if you have that 90-gram protein meal, will synthesize 30 grams of protein an hour for 3 hours or whatever its needs are in the day. What matters the most is that at the end of every day, and this is the consensus of all research, that you hit your necessary total protein target. For me, that's 200 grams. Now, might it be more optimal or a little easier on my stomach or digestion if I got 50 grams 4 times as opposed to 200 grams once? Maybe, but I'm not trying to step on the Olympia stage. If I get it 200 grams at once or 50 grams 4 times or 10 grams 20 times, that would be ridiculous. Your body's going to utilize what it needs to utilize as it is given the food. So don't overcomplicate that. Don't limit your protein intake. If you want to eat 60 or 90 grams in a meal, I do that often. Do it. It's fine. There is no necessary cap on how much you should consume in a given window. That was a great submission through Ben. Ben's on fire. Here's a third one. Soreness equals a good workout. I had some clients in my coaching community recently say like, "Oh, my soreness is dissipating from these workouts. Am I no longer seeing progress?" No, you're getting in better shape. You're becoming better conditioned to the stimulus. I'm in great shape right now physically from a cardiorespiratory and muscular standpoint, but if I do a new workout and I add a bunch of volume and I'm not used to a bunch of volume, I'll just get sore. Soreness is actually indicative of muscle damage, not muscle growth. What drives growth is adequate stimulus. 2 to 3 hard working sets, close to failure, more weight than you did last week, that's going to drive growth. Soreness does not mean growth and it does not mean good workout. It actually can be negative to a good workout because it can impair your ability to recover. If you are sore after every workout, you're probably not recovering or you're doing too much junk volume. I grew my physique on 2 to 3 working sets in a workout 3 times a week. Really hard sets, and I was sore sometimes, but you should not leave every workout feeling crushed and sore. You should leave every workout feeling like you pushed yourself and it was hard and you broke a sweat. You should be able to go about your day and feel good. You should not be cripplingly sore. So typically, if you're sore, it's because you applied a novel stimulus, something you've never done before. When I introduced deficit push-ups, I was sore as shit, but I think they're a great movement for chest. I had just never done them. I'd only done barbell and dumbbell work. So when I incorporated that deep stretch and a lot of reps, I was very sore because it was a novel or new stimulus. Once I got used to it in better condition, I stopped getting sore, but I kept growing. So soreness does not mean growth and it does not mean a good workout. If you progressed in that workout is your indicator of a good workout. I'm just going to keep rolling through bins. He submitted so much. The anabolic window. You need protein within 30 minutes of your workout or the workout was pointless. Again, guys, the body is an incredibly complex machine that physicians and researchers don't even know that much about. Okay, we know a lot about the human body, but we don't know everything about the human body. Why would it make sense that you have this great workout and your body goes, he didn't eat protein in time, nothing's going to happen now? It just doesn't. A lot of these myths, if you just run them through a filter of common sense, you go, oh, that's doesn't really make a lot of logical sense. Why would my body do that? So why would your body just scrap a workout that you applied stimulus to your body with if you didn't eat within 30 minutes? Now, the anabolic window may be real, but it actually lends itself to maybe existing more like 4 to 6 hours after the workout. So as long as you eat at some point after your workout, you're fine. As long as you have some protein after your workout, at some point, you're fine. You don't need to crack a protein shake as soon as you finish your last set. I've been there. It's bro science. It's all bullshit. It's even less important for the research if you eat a protein dense meal prior to training, you'll still have those amino acids free circulating in your blood. So don't worry so much about the timing of protein. I saw some meathead going viral on TikTok saying if you don't have fast digesting carbs, the workout's a waste. That's bro science from the 80s. It's all bullshit. It just get your protein in when you can and focus more on your end of day calories and protein rather than anything else. We'll take a quick sip of water. As you can see, this is going to be maybe a little bit longer of an episode, and I'm going to need to wet my whistle a little bit because this is a lot of talking and I'm trying to move really fast. Terry Wilson, a good friend I met at the AR Funnel Lead Conference, submitted a few good ones I'm going to roll through here. Myth, crunches will give you abs. This is something I see a lot. I see a lot of bullshit workouts on Instagram. Like, if you want toned arms, do these curls. If you want toned abs, do these crunches. Yes and no. You want to show a muscle. If you want to reveal a muscle like abs, biceps, you want to see more vasculature, you have to reduce your body fat. Okay? You have to reduce your body fat so the muscle can be revealed because right now it's probably hidden under a layer of fat. Now, training those muscles, training your abs, your legs, your arms, your chest will thicken them and grow them, making them more prominent when you do get leaner. So you should train them like any other muscle. I was anti-ab training for a while, and then I realized when I got shredded, my abs looked like shit because they were underdeveloped. So I'm working on thickening them now. And shocker, I'm lean again and they look better. They're more cut, they're more defined. You can see them more easily. They have deeper ridges. And that's what muscle is. Like if you want a more prominent tricep, grow the tricep and then get leaner, burn some body fat, and the muscle will be revealed through that, through your nutrition and your caloric deficit. So yes, abs are not made just in the gym. Let's see what's next here. Oh, here's another good one from Terry. You need to work out for hours in the gym to see results. This is indeed false. And I think this is the message I try to preach, overarching of all of my fitness messages, is I think a lot of people are put off from the idea of getting in the best shape of their life because they think to get in the best shape of my life, I need to do some sort of extraordinary, remarkable effort. Actually, no. You need to do the obvious thing for an extraordinary period of time. just like anything that's worth being successful at. I just think a lot of people assume bodybuilder meatheads who are in the gym 5 days a week for 2 to 3 hours and doing an hour of cardio, and their gym is basically their gym time's a part-time job. They think that that's what it takes. The truth is, like I said, you only need about 8 to 15 sets a week of hard training on a muscle to grow it. And that for me looked like 3 full body workouts per week, 2 to 3 hard working sets, really hard working sets on a full body split. That is how I built my physique. That is how I've built 40 pounds of muscle in the last 8 years. Could it have been more optimal? Could I have done it faster? Yeah, I spent way too much time in a deficit. I was scared to bulk. Don't be scared to bulk. That's a whole other conversation. The point is, you can get a killer workout and hit that progressive overload and strengthening mark in 45 to 60 minutes. That's what every one of my clients is doing in the coaching community. 3 hours a week in the gym, 10,000 steps a day, every day minimum, and they're all seeing results. It is not how much work you do, it is the quality of the work that is done in the gym. If you push the muscle hard for a few sets, you can get the hell out of there and grow a lot of muscle tissue, especially if you're a beginner. It takes like nothing. The research shows us it only takes 2 working sets per week to maintain tissue. So you get into 2 heavy sets of bench press and maintain the existing musculature, 2 sets per week in your chest. So anything beyond that could technically, in theory, trigger growth. It is far less work than you think. So if you are put off from the gym or getting in the best shape of your life because you think it's too much of a time commitment, it's not. You need 3 good hours per week in the gym and 60 minutes of brisk walking a day, and your body will transform. That's just, I'm living proof of that, and the research backs it. Daddy Wellness, my boy Richie. Carbs after a certain time of day will lead to fat gain, or late night eating, I'll add to that, will contribute to fat gain. That is a crock of shit. He knows it because he put the laughing emoji after it. Late night eating does not cause fat gain. Back to what I said earlier, too many calories causes fat gain. When I was at my most shredded, I was eating about 2,300 calories a day, and my last meal was around 9:30 p.m. because I wanted to eat close to bed because I was hungry all the time. I was too lean, not fun, don't recommend. Was back in the dark ages of my fitness journey, first couple years. And I would eat that close to bed so I could go to bed full. Now, going to bed full can compromise your sleep. It can prevent melatonin release. So it is best recommended to at least give yourself 90 minutes before bed for your last meal. That's just because you'll get better REM sleep and deep sleep. That is not because you'll gain fat. If you eat all 2,000 calories of your day at 9 p.m. and you burn 2,500 calories that day, you will lose weight. Our body, our calorie intake does not work on some sort of exact clock. Hell, our body doesn't even know clocks exist. We just invented time as a construct to keep us organized for things. The sun's going to rise and set no fucking matter what. So whenever you eat your calories is inconsequential to your weight gain or loss. It may just help with sleep to eat earlier in the day and stop eating earlier in the day. But it is not carbs or calories after a certain time. That late night eating causing fat gain, that's not true. That's just simply not true. Oh, my boy Pearson, the myth red meat is bad for you. I get a lot of flack in my comments for eating a ton of red meat. And people are like, oh, it causes colon cancer. It's carcinogenic. Yes, grilled meat has carcinogenic effects, or it can be not effects, but it can be considered a carcinogen because of the smoking and the crust that's formed around the meat. However, all of those studies that correlate red meat consumption to cancer, colon cancer risk specifically, I want somebody to find me a study where they followed a healthy individual who exercises, doesn't smoke, isn't obese, doesn't drink, and the red meat they got was steak and vegetables. A lot of these studies are observational studies or epidemiology studies where you can easily say correlation does not equal causation. Just because someone ate red meat and got cancer, that does not mean that that was the cause. It might be correlated, but it is not the cause. A lot of the red meat in question in these studies is a McDonald's cheeseburger sandwich between 2 hyper-processed buns. Oh, and by the way, the person was sedentary. Oh, and by the way, they didn't account for the fact that they were a smoker or that they were 50 pounds overweight their whole life, or they drank alcohol, or they didn't eat enough fiber with their red meat. That's hugely important for colorectal health, eating roughly 10 grams of fiber per 1,000 calories you consume. They don't account for those things because it's very hard to control for that many variables. So I have yet to see a study that tightly follows healthy, active people who eat enough vegetables and a diverse diet and are also active and lead a healthy lifestyle that ends up with colorectal cancer. I don't even think it exists. I don't think that study exists. So Peter Attia once said that the link between red meat and cancer, the correlation is so weak, he doesn't even deem it worth conversation. And that is a medical doctor, one of the authorities in the space. It is such a straw man argument. It is a crock of shit. You're not going to get sick eating steak and vegetables and fruits and eggs. That's just not going to happen. Red meat is not bad for you. It is incredibly dense in micronutrients, and I feel better, fuller, and more energized when I'm eating more red meat. Another one from Pearson. The demonization of high-fat food being automatically unhealthy. I do think a lot of people correlate fat with fat. If I eat dietary fat, I'm going to get fat. No, that's not true. You need dietary fat. Dietary fat makes up the myelin sheath of our cellular makeup. Our cells are made of a myelin sheath that is made of the fat that we consume. Our brain is 60% saturated fat. Did you know that? Fun fact. The fats that we eat make us up on a cellular level. They are also saturated fat specifically are precursors to male and female sex hormone production. You know that little thing you guys are all obsessed with raising, your testosterone, fellows? That comes from eating enough dietary fat, healthy omega fats, omega 3s, a balance of omega 3s and omega 6s, polyunsaturated and monounsaturated fats, saturated fats. You need all of them. I eat a ton of eggs, a ton of steak, a ton of butter. I also eat olive oil, avocados, a few nuts, a diverse fish, a diverse array of fats is critical for your health and hormone production. I see a lot of people on bro diets out here eating 30 to 40 grams of fat a day and wondering why they have no libido and no energy. I personally feel the best eating 80 to 120 grams of fat a day, which is a little bit higher than a conventional diet. I feel the best. I just got my bloods done. My male hormone health panel, especially considering my training volume and all the running I do, because running can actually lower testosterone. My male hormone panels are perfect for a natural lifter. My testosterone was 730. My free test was 13.7, which is a great ratio of free to total. My SHGB or my SHBG, my estrogen, estradiol, everything was pretty much perfect, right in the middle range. And I eat an abundance of fat. You need fat to be healthy, and you especially need fat to be healthy as a woman with your hormonal cycle. Same for women in red meat. Because of your menstrual cycles and the fact that you menstruate, you lose blood, you lose minerals, you need tons of red meat, iron, zinc, copper. You need to put that stuff back into your body because you're losing it every month. We're not. So I hope that clears up the fat myth. Let's see. Josh gets gains. My boy Josh. Carbs are bad when losing weight. Oh boy, I need a sip of water before this. And guys, I know I'm moving fast. I'm just trying to hammer through these. I'm talking at an alarming speed rate right now, but I want to get through as many of these as possible and try to really answer every possible question I have, because every time I do a video like this, another myth pops up. I have gotten shredded on a keto diet. I have gotten shredded on a carnivore diet. I've gotten shredded somewhere in between, and I've gotten shredded eating 400 grams of carbs a day. Back at my leanest, I was eating half a box of Cinnamon Toast Crunch before bed. Don't recommend, not very satiating, but because I was within my calorie needs, I hit my deficit, I got shredded. Okay, this whole insulin hypothesis, that's bullshit. That's all bullshit. That is a theory. The insulin carbohydrate model is a theory. The law of thermodynamics is a law. The difference between scientific theory and scientific law is that theory hasn't necessarily been proven, but the law of thermodynamics is concrete. And the law of thermodynamics states that energy can neither be created nor destroyed, but only transferred. However, what I'm getting at is you can get shredded eating all of the macronutrients, eating a balanced diet. If someone got shredded on carnivore, it's because they were in a deficit. If someone got shredded on vegan, it's because they were in a deficit. That's all that matters. Don't fear rice. Don't fear potatoes. Sometimes potatoes can be more filling than rice, so that's why they're a great diet food. But you can eat rice, you can eat cereal, you can eat bread, you can drink juice, not filling. But as long as you're within your caloric parameters, and you're eating mostly whole foods and enough protein, your strength training, you will get leaner and you will look better. I promise. Alpa El Main submitted the question of strength training making women bulky, or the myth. This is untrue. It is false. It can also be true for genetic outliers. I've had women who are like, well, I strength trained and I got bulky. Okay, well, maybe you have genetic predisposition to build a little more muscle, or maybe your definition of bulky isn't really an objective definition of bulky. You see bulky women, maybe sometimes those women have better genetics for muscle building. Maybe they're a little bit higher testosterone. But generally speaking, straight. I mean, you guys should all know now. You see female fitness influencers who lift heavy weights and barbell squat and they deadlift and they look great. They look athletic. They look fit. They look healthy. But then you see some CrossFit women who have like big traps or big abs, or they just look more developed than maybe you would like. Keep in mind, some of them might be on steroids, just saying. And keep in mind also, they have different genetics than you. If you were in the gym, strength training hard a couple times a week as a woman, you generally do not have enough testosterone to build a bulky or masculine look. It will only accentuate your feminine features you want to develop, which in this day and age, women want a bigger butt, better legs, more defined shoulders that create sort of that feminine physique, the psychologically perceived feminine physique. Fun fact, there are like evolutionary standouts that men and women look for in a potential partner. For example, for women seeking men subconsciously, they look for sort of that V taper, wide shoulders and lats into a more narrow waist. It indicates fertility and health and also the ability to protect and provide. And then men look for subconsciously through our reptilian brains more of that hourglass figure because it can also represent fertility. So little human biology or evolutionary biology lesson there for you. Lifting is not going to make a woman look bulky or masculine. You cannot lift hard enough to do that, I promise. Most men aren't even training hard enough to look masculine or bulky, respectfully. Great submission there. Let's see what's next. Already covered eating before bed makes you fat. That's not true. Let's see. Oh, the de-bloating or greens powders that the girlies on the internet drink. Ali Alpamain submitted this as well. Yeah, that's all bullshit too. If you want to de-bloat, take a look at the foods you're eating. You might be eating foods that are bloating you. For example, broccoli is considered healthy, but when I eat broccoli, I bloat up and I get GI pain and discomfort. So I don't eat much of it. I don't eat a lot of cruciferous vegetables. For whatever reason, they don't agree with me. Now, digestive enzymes might be able to help you. Probiotics might be able to help you. But the best thing you can do for not feeling bloated after meals is eating the diet that fits your digestion the best. For me, that's mostly meat, potatoes, some fruits, some grains, but a little bit lower on the fiber side, and I don't feel bloated after meals. So if the best thing you can do for your bloating, if you are feeling bloated, is taking a walk after your meals. That's going to promote gastric emptying and digestion, and it's why in my Instagram stories I promote post-meal walks so often. You will feel so good. It's going to regulate your insulin sensitivity. It's going to increase your insulin sensitivity, which is good for keeping you lean. It's going to improve digestion, improve blood flow. That's the best debloating tool, not these fucking powders all these bitches on the internet are promoting and peddling. It's all crap. I didn't mean to call them bitches. That was abrasive. I apologize. Let's see. Sorry for the pause here. Some of these are really not worth getting into. Okay, Chris Minna submitted one. This is pretty good. Running destroys muscle growth, or if you do too much cardio, you can't grow muscle. I built a ton of muscle on marathon and ultramarathon prep. If you're going to be in this, what they call hybrid athlete space, I think that term's a little bit cringe personally. I'm just a person who runs, but also lifts weights. Stretch calling me an athlete. Anyway, running and lifting are counterintuitive stimuli, absolutely. And our body's job is to make us as efficient as possible for the task at hand. That's why you see marathoners who are built like sticks and sprinters who are built like brick shithouses. Those long endurance efforts, no, it's not conducive for the body to carry a bunch of tissue. Like I would be a better runner if I was 170 and not 200 pounds. I'm not 200 pounds. I'd be so generous. I'm 190 pounds. I wish I was 200 pounds. However, it got off track there. Since they are counterintuitive stimuli, if you were to only run, your body would say, hey, we don't need all this extra muscle mass. Let's taper that down. Let's make him leaner and lighter so he can move more efficiently. Because for all it knows, you're running from a lion. It doesn't know you're just hitting a jog on the belt line or wherever you are. So you need to apply hard strength training, intense strength training in close proximity to failure to counteract that and grow muscle tissue. Is it a little bit harder to do both? Yeah. Will you get in the best muscular development shape of your life while also being a marathoner? Probably not, especially as a natural. You can kind of be jack of all trades, master of none. And if you want to prioritize one, you should focus on it more. If you want the best physique you could possibly get muscularly, maybe running isn't the best, distance running specifically. You should absolutely do cardio for your heart health, but to say it destroys muscle growth is not true. I think the hybrid athlete movement that the B-Pin guys have started is a testament to that. Let's see. Resistance training stunts growth. This is for the parents out there. This is a myth. If you're younger, it's okay and safe to strength train. There is no research that indicates that picking up weights and putting them down is going to stop you from growing. In fact, it might actually be conducive to the production of hormones during puberty. We know that squats and deadlifts can actually secrete growth hormone following the lift. So it might even be, dare I say, productive for children to strength train safely and with good form, Let them learn how to do it safely. Don't let a kid get in there and start busting out deadlifts and snap his shit up. But strength training is not going to stunt a child's growth. There's no research to indicate that. I think even the research shows the opposite. Oh boy. Here we go. Deep breath. This is the thing that's getting me in trouble on the internet right now. If you saw my beef is a stretch. I personally don't. I feel like two people have to actually care for it to be a beef, and I don't really care. But the PCOS community is coming for me because I said that your high cortisol isn't keeping you from losing weight. Okay, I'll say exactly what I said in the video that's getting so much negative attention. I said something to the effect of, it's not your hormones, it's not your insulin, it's not your cortisol that's causing you to gain weight, it's your elbow. Every time your elbow bends, your fucking mouth opens. It's just a joke. I heard an old guy say it once, made me laugh real hard. It was meant to be hyperbolic and inflammatory and joking. It was not taken as a joke. But the truth is, this whole wave of people on the internet saying you have high cortisol and that's why you're fat. You've all seen the TikTok shop ads. It's bullshit. It's not true. Our cortisol rises and falls naturally with the circadian rhythm that we establish through morning sunlight and proper sleep and rest. Now, some people may struggle with higher cortisol and that can bring on other symptoms, but fat gain is not necessarily one of them. If you have high cortisol and you don't eat for 5 days, you're gonna lose weight. You're gonna lose a lot of weight. If high cortisol is what kept people fat, there would not be people starving in other countries, starving to death. It is just not true. These people that say it's their cortisol or the PCOS, it absolutely can make it harder. I want to be empathetic to the fact that these conditions mess with your appetite, they mess with your energy levels, can cause you to reach for hyperpalatable, calorically dense foods. They can lower your energy, your desire to move, all which can contribute to weight gain. That's why I said in that video also, they have an impact on the rules of the game, but they do not change the rules of the game, which is that you need to be in a caloric deficit to lose weight. Your high cortisol is not keeping you fat. Track your calories, be honest with yourself, and be active, and you will lose body fat every time. For every one PCOS girlie who tells me I'm an insensitive women hater, it's crazy. So many people telling me I hate women. What? I have a mother who I love dearly. I don't hate women. Crazy ass. For every one of those, there's another one who says, I have PCOS and high cortisol and all that bullshit, and I lost 30 pounds in a caloric deficit. You're right. I know I'm right, but thank you for the reinforcement. They need to see it. So your cortisol is not an issue. Your elbow is. Let's see. Oh, this is a good one right here from TLK 320. Fasted cardio is more efficient for weight loss. They have done research on this, and here's the consensus. Yes, you do move into a, quote, fat burning state more quickly when you are doing fasted cardio because your body has no stored glycogen. If you haven't eaten in 12, 16, 18 hours, your body may tap into fat cells as energy if you're doing a run or steady state cardio or training, whatever. However, if you turn back around and go into a caloric surplus that day, it doesn't matter. So they've done studies on fasted during fed cardio, and when calories are held equal, it's all coming back to that CISO thing I mentioned earlier. I told you this would happen. There was no difference in fat loss. So if you feel better doing fasted cardio, I feel a little bit nauseous when I eat a lot before a run. Do it. Fine. Whatever. Compliance is the science. You're going to see the best results in what you like and can stick to. However, if you want to do fed cardio and you hit your calorie goals at the end of the day, you're going to be fine. You're not going to burn any more fat in a fasted state. Okay. So if you do an hour of fasted cardio and then you hit your calories, you'll be good. If you do an hour of fed cardio and you hit your calories, you'll be good. Conversely, if you do an hour of fasted cardio and you eat too fucking much, you're going to gain weight. It's that simple. You know, put the fat back you burned on the treadmill. Stop overcomplicating this shit. Already covered the lifting heavy makes you bulky. Not true. Cardio kills gains. We covered that. Diet drinks will kill you. Diet drinks will not kill you. Okay. The research shows us that in order for artificial sweeteners, which are classified as, I think, like a class C carcinogen, the dose makes the poison. They can be possibly carcinogenic if you consume the equivalent of what was, I think it was 32 Diet Cokes a day. Now, if you're doing that, seek Jesus or a therapist, something, because that is abnormal. Drink more water for the love of God. But if you're having 1 to 2 Diet Cokes a day, in fact, they've actually done research where they followed subjects who drank diet soda and subjects who drank water. Shout out Dylan for this study. They tracked them both, and they found that the diet soda subjects actually lost more weight and kept that weight off because they were able to use the diet or sugar-free alternatives that were 0 or low calories for their sugary or caloric-filled beverages as a substitute. So on average, diet soda drinkers were actually leaner and healthier than non-diet soda drinkers. Now, there's some evidence to suggest that artificial sweeteners change our gut microbiome, but we don't necessarily know if that's good or bad. We don't really know shit about our microbiome yet. There are more active gut bacteria in your stomach than there are observed stars in the sky. How crazy is that? Just that has nothing to do with what I'm saying, but that's just I heard that once and I was just my mind was blown. So diet sodas are not going to make you fat. They're not going to make you sick. They're not going to give you cancer. If you would reach for a Diet Coke instead of a Coke, you would probably be better off. There are a lot of people who are obese who just cut soda out of their diet and lose weight because they were having 7 to 8 Cokes or Mountain Dews a day, and that's 1,000 calories. The real thing that is going to make you sick, that is going to give you cancer, that is going to kill you early is smoking, drinking, not sleeping, and carrying around an exorbitant amount of body fat for your entire life. Those are the things that are going to kill you early. A Diet Coke, I have one right here. A Diet Coke or the artificial sweeteners in this creatine in this water bottle I'm drinking are not the problem. Focus on the big rocks. The big rocks are your training, your nutrition, your rest, recovery, and hydration. The small rocks, all that other bullshit. So that's my take on diet soda. Okay. A lot of these are repeats, so I'm trying not to be too redundant. A lot of about the protein synthesis. Ooh, this is actually a good one from Eric Spencer. Myth, walking is useless. I'm actually going to convert this into a question I get a lot, which is what's the best form of cardio for fat loss? Because for whatever reason, get this water bottle out of the shot. For whatever reason, there's a lot of buzz on the internet about, oh, walking at a 3.5 incline on 3.5 speed is the best thing for body fat loss. Actually, just moving is the best thing for body fat loss. Your calorie intake is most important for body fat loss. If you run 10 miles and then eat 5,000 calories, you only burn 4,000, you're getting fatter, Janet. Sorry. But the best form of cardio is the one that you will do. And I do hear like just a normal walk outside is sort of demonized compared to a HIIT workout or a run or a Stairmaster or elliptical. Actually, walking might be more conducive for fat loss because a lot of these high intensity, high effort cardio bouts are very glycolytic. They burn through carbs and they also make you sweat and lose sodium, which can cause you to feel hungrier after the workout, reaching for salty, calorie and carbohydrate dense foods. When you burn through your carbs, your glycogen, stored carbohydrate, your body wants to replace that and replenish it. And so walking has actually been shown to have a neutral impact on appetite because it's very non-glycolytic. So when I'm walking 20,000 steps a day and I can eat a lot because I'm burning a lot. I can eat like 2,600 calories and I'm not starving. I get shredded. If I'm doing a lot of these like high rock style workouts like I am right now, I am ravenous and I hate it. So I have to counteract that with more protein and more fiber and more high volume foods. But a lot of people are just underestimating the power of stepping outside of your front door and just going for a walk. So when you ask me, should I do Stairmaster? Should I do elliptical? Should I run? Do the one that you like and can stick to. And for a lot of you, walk. Walking is going to be one of the most powerful fat loss tools you can incorporate. I have a lot of people in my community, my coaching community, who were just walking 3,000 steps a day and we upped it to 10,000 and the weight just started falling off because every 10,000 steps you take burns somewhere between 3 and 600 additional calories to your total daily energy expenditure. That's huge. It's a massive improvement for some people when the US national average of steps is like, I think 3,200 a day. So walking is a powerful tool for fat loss that should not be understated. Let's see. A lot of carbs are bad. A lot of don't eat before beds. Don't eat before beds. Don't eat before bed. Let's see. Oh, running with a sweat jacket, sweatsuit, or waist trainer. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. Your effort, the amount you sweat, is not conducive to the amount of fat you're going to lose. Your caloric intake is. I see a lot of guys and gals running with waist trainers on, hoodies, freaking boxing sweatsuits, doing the sauna because they think they're going to lose fat. No, you're just going to sweat and lose water, which will make you lighter on the scale. But once you drink your water, you're just going to weigh the same. That's water weight. That's not body fat. So again, it comes back to your nutrition. Someone said LeBron is better than Jordan. I don't even know enough about basketball to speak on that. Cardio ruin gains. Let's see. Wow, a lot of these are very, very redundant, which is good. It means everyone's focused on hearing a lot of the same bullshit. Protein powder being bad versus protein in food. This is actually what I'm seeing. Is it bad to have protein if I can't hit my protein goal from eating food alone because I'm too full? Protein powder is food. It is a processed powder, but it is calories and protein and amino acids. It is food for the body. So a lot of you are going to follow this with, well, what's the best protein powder to drink, Michael? The one that you like, the one that's within your budget, that doesn't hurt your stomach. If you like whey, great. You like pea protein, okay. You like beef protein isolate, whatever. You like a Fairlife shake, go for it. I do see a lot of that. Whole food should always be at the forefront of your consumption. But if you are 50 grams short and you're stuffed, if you're 50 grams short of protein, have a shake. It's totally fine. In fact, it's encouraged. Encouraged? Encouraged. Ooh, Lauren. Lauren said, diet sodas are better than you for regular sodas. LOL, trying to imply that that was a myth. Lauren, I'm going to hold your hand when I say this. No, I'm not. Diet sodas actually probably are better for you. Ooh, sorry, I said it. Please refer to my earlier question that I answered. I hate that. I hate when someone so confidently says something. I'm like, oh, you were so wrong, and you said that with so much confidence. Starvation mode. Ooh, this might be a good one to close on because we're 40 minutes in and I'm getting tired. Okay, let's talk about starvation mode or metabolic adaptation. I'm seeing a lot of people who are like, oh, I went to my personal trainer and he told me I wasn't eating enough. No, baby. No. Metabolic adaptation, or the process of your metabolism slowing things down in response to a decrease in caloric intake or a reduction in body weight, is real. Metabolic adaptation is real, but it is grossly over exaggerated. I hear a lot of mainly women in my comments saying, well, I was eating 1,200 calories a day and I wasn't losing weight. And then I upped it to 2,000 and suddenly the weight's falling off. No, that's not what happened. One of two things happened. Number one, you weren't eating 1,200 calories. You were mistracking, you were ballparking, you were lying to yourself. It's the truth. It's the hard truth you don't want to face. A lot of us take little bites of things here and there and don't track it. Oh, no, that bite of Skittles doesn't count. Yes, the fuck it does, Catherine. And the average person in a research study, they found the average person underreports their caloric intake by, get this, 50%, 50%, not 15, 50%. So a lot of you are thinking, what's the math on that? If you think you're eating 2,000 calories a day, 50% is 1,000. So you're actually eating 3,000. Is that right? Someone check me in the comments. So the underestimation of food is gross in the average person. They don't know calories. They don't understand them. That's why I encourage people to weigh your food and track it for a little while. That's the first option. The second option is that a few days out of the week, you're eating 1,200 calories and you felt so deprived that 3 days out of the week, you binge and overconsume and eat 5,000. And that puts your 7-day caloric average way higher. So let's just do a quick example. I'm going to walk you guys through this. If my calorie maintenance is 3,000 calories, let's just easy example. So over the course of 7 days, if I eat 3,000 calories, my weight will stay the same. That's 21,000 calories a week. So in order for me to be in a deficit, 500 calorie daily deficit, I need to eat 2,500 calories, right? 500 times 7 is 3,500. That's roughly a pound of body fat and stored energy. So 2,500 calories times 7 is a weekly caloric budget. This is a great way to view calories and why calorie cycling works for some people, higher days, lower days. Over the course of 7 days, to stay in my deficit, I need to consume 17,500 calories. So let's say for 5 days in a row, I eat 2,500 calories. So that's 2,500 times 5. Is that right? 2,500 times 5, yeah. So 5 days, I eat 2,500 calories. I nail my deficit. That leaves me with 5,000 calories for the weekend, Saturday and Sunday. Again, 2 days at 2,500 calories. I'd nail my deficit. So that leaves me with 5,000 calories in my weekly budget. But let's say over those next 2 days, I have 4,000 calories. So I'm well over 2,000 calories in out of my deficit. I had 5,000 budgeted for the weekend. I consumed 8. So I am at a net positive of 3,000 calories. So over the weeks, I will gain weight taking that approach. That's what a lot of people do. They restrict all week and then they blow it the fuck out on the weekends. They drink, they eat out, they just grossly overconsume, and then they're baffled. And they continue this vicious cycle of restricting, binging, and overconsuming. I've been there. So the first thing is either be honest with yourself, track every freaking bite you put in your mouth, weigh it on a food scale, understand what calories really look like and what portions really look like, and then be honest and you'll see the weight come off. Or find the inconsistencies in your nutrition. I had clients who were eating and drinking a lot on the weekends and wondering why they weren't losing weight. And I said, I want you to track, well, actually, shout out Olivia, my coaching client. She piped up on a call with another woman and said, I want you to track everything and be honest with yourself, every drink you have, every White Claw, every vodka soda, every bite, and see how much that actually adds up to. And it was well over 1,000 calories total. So it really comes down to just being honest with yourself. I got off on a tangent there a little bit. Starvation mode doesn't exist to the degree that people think it does. Now, your metabolism will slow down a little bit when you get lighter. So generally, for every 20 to 25 pounds you lose, we observe maybe like a 10% reduction in your basal metabolic rate. So you have your basal metabolic rate, which is the amount of calories it takes to keep you alive. Meaning if you were laying in bed in a coma, your body still burns calories. Me sitting right here talking, I'm burning calories. Your brain alone burns about 20% of your daily calories. Wild, right? This thing needs a lot of food. So my BMR, you can calculate this pretty easily. Oh no, I lost my questions. Where's the stand by? So we don't do these edited. These are raw and unfiltered. I'll just finish the statement first. Your BMR, my BMR, for example, is about 2,000 calories. If I were to lose 25 to 30 pounds, it might drop by about 10%, which is about 200 calories. So it'll drop to about 1,800 calories. But your total daily energy expenditure includes your BMR plus everything else. Your NEAT, or non-exercise activity thermogenesis, tapping, pacing, flinching. Fun fact, you can actually burn, some subjects in a study burned up to an additional 1,000 calories through just fidgeting, tapping their foot, twitching, flicking a pin. Those naturally skinnier people tend to be very fidgety, and that NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis, burns calories. You have EAT, exercise activity thermogenesis, walking, jogging, running, gym. You have the TEF, the thermic effect of food, which is the digestion of food. Protein burns about 20% of every calorie to be digested. Fats or carbs is like 5 to 8%, and fats is like 0 to 3%. So for every 100 calories you consume of protein, you burn about 20 calories just digesting the protein. So all of those things make up your total daily energy expenditure. So as you get progressively lighter, your BMR may go down, but that's simply because it just takes less energy to run a machine that is lighter. There's less of you to move through time and space. So when I was 240, 235, I might have burned more calories than I did at 170 because I'm just a lighter human. But you can easily combat that with upping your activity a little bit, getting a few more steps, walking for an extra 10 minutes, 20 minutes will burn that extra 100 calories. So yes, metabolic adaptation technically exists, but it does not exist to the degree in which we think it does, which is, oh, if I eat 1,200 calories for a week, my body's going to slow things down because it thinks I'm dying. That's not true. My friend Dylan, who you saw me shoot a lot of content with, just did a 6-week cut. He's 200 pounds. He was 200 pounds. No, he was 211. He ate 1,500 calories a day. And as a result, got down to 198 in like 6 weeks. So that whole starvation mode shit, it's all a load of crap. See if I can find a good one, another good one to finish on. I think that might be a good one to roll on because we're at 47 minutes. This is long, and I'm getting pretty fatigued mentally. A lot of these are pretty redundant. Yeah, so I guess we'll close there, and I can absolutely do a part 2, but this episode's getting really long. So, guys, let me know what you thought of this episode. I apologize for sort of the unfiltered, chaotic, and fast-paced nature. These are just, there's a lot here. I think I covered all of the big ones. And if I didn't, please drop in the comments what you'd like to see next. If you're listening on Spotify, please rate the show and follow it. It does help get the message to more people. If you're watching on YouTube or Apple, well, let's start with YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe, like the video, drop a comment, let me know what you thought. If you're on Apple, rate the show and follow it as well. Now, let's do a step check. Drop your step check in the comments. It's 3:42 Eastern Standard, and I'm at 3,699 steps. Ugh, the time change got me. I'm going to get out here and get some serious steppage in on the back half of the day because it doesn't get dark until 7:40 at night. Let's fucking go. My mental health is climbing. And if you're interested in joining the community, go ahead and hit the link in my bio in my Instagram. If you want to get results, you want sustainable results, you want access to hours of exclusive modules and content, one of which I release every single month around fitness, nutrition, mindset, and even public speaking and career development, and you want to be on our live coaching group calls 2 to 3 times a week in the coaching community, hit the link in my bio on Instagram and TikTok and enter your information. You'll receive a video on exactly what my coaching consists so you can determine if it is right for you or not. And if it is, I look forward to seeing you there. And if not, I look forward to seeing you in the podcasts, in the comment sections, and at my various other social media outlets. Thanks for being here. Thank you for your patience, and I'll see you in the next episode.